Welcome to the world of stories. This is HRB Verse, where every story is real, heartfelt, and unforgettable. Subscribe now and become part of a journey you'll never forget. I'm 31, a single mom to my son, Noah, and we've been managing on our own since he was 2. His dad moved across the country for a new chapter, sending a birthday card with $20 twice a year, once for Christmas, once for Noah's birthday if he remembers. I've worked at the same company for years in an admin role that keeps the bills paid but leaves little room for extras. With rent, childcare, and Noah's asthma medication, life is a constant balancing act. I've been putting in extra hours, taking on side projects, and doing everything possible to secure a promotion to executive assistant. The promotion would mean a pay bump, not life-changing for some, but for us, it's the difference between triple-checking my account before grocery shopping and having a bit of breathing room. My boss, Michael, hinted I was the top candidate and scheduled my interview for 2 p.m. I had it all planned. Noah would be at school. I'd take a long lunch break for the interview and be back at work by 3:30. But then Noah started coughing, a harsh, barking cough signaling an asthma flare-up. He had a 101.5 fever, so school wasn't an option. I called out sick to take him to the doctor, who prescribed steroids and 48 hours of rest. I called my mom right away, assuming she'd step in given the stakes. That was my first mistake. My parents lived 25 minutes away in the same suburban neighborhood I grew up in. My dad's semi-retired, my mom doesn't work, and they live comfortably. Dinners out 3 times a week, weekends at their lake house, a cushy lifestyle. They've always been emotionally distant but have watched Noah in emergencies before. When I explained the situation, there was a long pause. Then my mom said, "Oh, sweetheart, this weekend's no good. We're going to the Johnsons' anniversary party Saturday, and I need Friday for my salon appointment and prep. You know how it is." I explained the promotion would mean stability for her only grandson, not a full weekend of babysitting, just 2 hours. She gave that familiar, exasperated sigh and said she couldn't rearrange last minute, suggesting this was a sign I should reprioritize as a mom. I hung up before saying something I'd regret. I called everyone else I could think of, friends, neighbors, parents of Noah's classmates, but no one could help on short notice with him sick. I tried rescheduling the interview, but Michael was booked all day. I left a message with HR Sarah explaining and asking to move the slot. The response: Michael's schedule was tight, and HR's Lisa stressed they needed to decide fast. The interview was now or never. Heartbroken, I emailed that I'd have to withdraw. Noah spent the day on the couch with cartoons, while I tried not to break down over what this meant for us. At 4 p.m., my mom texted, "How'd the interview go? Did you figure it out?" I stared, shocked. It was as if our earlier call never happened or she expected me to magically solve it. I didn't reply. Then another text, "We're at the Johnsons' party. Come over for dinner tomorrow, pot roast." Like she hadn't just derailed a chance I'd worked months for. While Noah watched TV, I called her. I said we wouldn't come for dinner and expressed my hurt over her refusal to help. She snapped, "You can't expect me to upend my life every time you're in a pinch. I raised you. Raising Noah is your job." The call spiraled. I pointed out I'd asked for help maybe 5 times in the 4 years since Noah's dad left. She countered with a list of birthday and Christmas gifts they'd given Noah, as if toys equaled real support. I reminded her of the times I'd set up their new TV, driven dad to physical therapy post-knee surgery, or helped rearrange their house for redecorating. She brushed it off as what families do. By the end, I was shaking with anger and said I needed space. Maybe I'd stop dropping everything for them since they never had time for Noah or me. Silence. Then she said, "We were hoping you could help with some bills this month. Your dad's meds went up and property taxes are due." I couldn't believe it. In the same breath she dismissed my loss, she asked for money I didn't have because of the promotion I missed because of her. I said I couldn't help financially and hung up. I got the email confirming the job went to someone else, someone who could attend their interview. I cried in my car during lunch, washed my face, and went back to my desk like nothing happened. That night my dad called, making small talk about the weather before saying, "Your mom told me about your talk." He tried to smooth things over, saying she didn't mean to seem unsupportive, but they really needed help with bills. When I mentioned the missed interview, he just said, "These things happen, sweetie. There'll be other chances." Noah was back at school, and I was back at my desk, watching the person who got my promotion train for the role. My parents kept calling and texting, asking when I'd help with their expenses. I'd had enough. After years of one-sided support, I set a boundary. I texted them I couldn't help financially or otherwise for now and asked them to respect it. Their reply, "We're family. We're supposed to support each other. It only seems to matter when they need something." I'm torn. Part of me feels guilty for cutting them off, but another part wishes I'd done it sooner. Noah keeps asking when we'll see Grandma and Grandpa, and I don't know what to say. Edit, for those suggesting I bring Noah to the interview, he was genuinely sick with a fever and constant coughing. Leaving a 6- or 7-year-old alone wasn't an option, nor was bringing him to a professional interview. Update 2 weeks later. It's been 2 weeks, and things have escalated in ways I didn't expect. Thank you to everyone who shared advice and stories. It's helped me feel less isolated and more confident in my boundaries. After my text about not helping financially, my parents went quiet for 3 days. I hoped they were reflecting or respecting my space. That hope vanished while I was making Noah's favorite dinner, boxed mac and cheese with hot dogs. My phone lit up with a message, not from my neighbor Claire, who sometimes checks if I need groceries, but from my mom. A screenshot of a $44.12 credit card bill, no explanation. 20 minutes later, "We need help with this by Friday or the interest rate spikes." I stirred the mac and cheese, recalling the times I'd buylaid them out. Last Christmas, they couldn't afford gifts for Noah but went to a ski resort in February. Their emergency car repair last year, a new audio system upgrade. Each time I dipped into my savings because they framed it as urgent. I ignored the text and focused on dinner with Noah, who was excited about his class's solar system project. He's Jupiter, the biggest planet with the most moons, Mom. After he went to bed, I saw 3 missed calls from my dad and a panicked voicemail. "Honey, call us back. This is serious. Your mom's distraught." I didn't call. Instead, I texted that I couldn't help financially, especially after the promotion loss, then silenced my phone and spent an hour job hunting. The promotion fiasco was a wake-up call, 4 years of loyalty, and I was easily replaced. Noah and I come first now. The next morning, my mom sent a long text claiming the credit card debt was mostly from helping Noah and me. News to me? I checked my bank statements. They gave Noah a $25 Walmart gift card for his birthday, passed on ill-fitting clothes from my cousin's kid, and took us to Olive Garden once with a coupon they'd used before. Meanwhile, I'd given them $750 for a broken water heater, spent $180 on Dad's birthday gift, and countless hours helping with tech issues or driving them when Dad's cataracts made night driving tough. At work, I trained the new hire, Ethan, for my role. He was awkward, saying, "You really had this nailed, and they should have waited for you." It wasn't his fault, but it stung. During lunch, my mom's sister, Aunt Clara, called, someone I talked to maybe twice a year. She went on about how worried she was for my parents, saying I was in a tough emotional spot, but family sticks together. I tried explaining the interview and years of one-sided support, but she cut me off. "That's your side, but your mom says she's always been there for you." I Googled how to spot manipulative parents and read articles that felt like they were written about my family. Realizing this wasn't normal hit hard. I cried in the bathroom for 5 minutes, then went back to my desk with a fake smile. That evening at the park with Noah, my dad pulled up in their SUV. Noah ran to him, thrilled. My stomach dropped. I wasn't ready for this, especially with Noah there. Dad hugged him and asked to talk for a minute. I sent Noah to the swings where I could see him and faced Dad, arms crossed. He looked tired, and for a moment my lifelong guilt kicked in. Then he said Mom was crying herself to sleep because I'd cut them off, and by the way, their insurance premium was due. I pointed out he drove 25 minutes to guilt me but couldn't do the same to watch Noah when he was sick. He looked stunned, like it never crossed his mind. We talked for 10 minutes, guilt trips mixed with pleas for cash. I said I'd think about it to get back to Noah, knowing he'd assume I'd cave like always. Over the weekend, my brother Caleb called, rare since we usually text. He'd heard from our parents just like Aunt Clara. Unlike her, he saw through them. They pulled the same stunt with me last year. I gave them money for a plumbing crisis, then saw Mom's post about new deck furniture. We agreed to keep each other posted on their demands. I got a call for an interview at a company offering a similar role with better pay and benefits. I arranged childcare with Claire, who stepped up after hearing about my parents. That afternoon, Mom texted, "We're hurt by your attitude. We've always supported you, and now you're turning your back. We need to talk about this credit card bill." I didn't reply, but checked their Facebook. Posts from a fancy dinner with friends, Mom in a new dress, captioned, "Feeling fabulous after my birthday treat." That night at 9 p.m., a knock. Through the peephole, I saw Mom, looking angry yet pitiful. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. She launched into a speech about family duty and their sudden financial hardship from vague medical costs and home repairs, despite their house being newer than mine. When I asked for specifics, she pivoted, asking me to help organize their finances since I'm good with budgets, code for digging into their mess, feeling guilty and paying. I suggested a financial advisor or credit counseling. Her face hardened and she said, "You don't get it, we're your parents. We raised you for 18 years, now it's your turn to take care of us." I said I needed to check on Noah and shut the door. Through the glass, I saw her stand there a minute before joining Dad in their car. Mom sent a group text to me, Caleb, and relatives with a GoFundMe link. Help 2 seniors keep their home, claiming medical issues and unexpected bills, asking for $160,000. No donations yet. Caleb and I were floored. They own their house outright, paid off years ago, and have Dad's pension and Social Security. They're not at risk of homelessness. This was manipulation on steroids. I didn't reply to the group text. Neither did Caleb. Aunt Clara messaged me asking why I wasn't stepping up after all they've done. I'm still processing while prepping for my interview. Noah keeps asking about Grandma and Grandpa, and I'm running out of excuses. Part of me feels cruel, but part of me feels I'm finally standing up for myself. Edit. For those asking about Noah's dad, he pays minimal court-ordered child support, barely covering asthma meds. Update, recent. I met my parents at a Starbucks near Noah's school to keep things civil in public. They arrived 15 minutes late, Mom in designer sunglasses and her Coach purse I helped pick last year, Dad in a golf shirt despite the chill. They didn't look desperate. They started talking over each other about mortgage company pressure for missed payments. I reminded them they told me their house was paid off. Silence. Mom admitted they took a home equity line of credit 3 years ago for a kitchen remodel, an Alaskan cruise, and expenses. They'd only paid interest, and the bank was now pressing for regular payments. Not foreclosure, just accountability. They hadn't mentioned it to spare me worry. I asked about the GoFundMe, which had $200 from 3 donors. Mom waved it off, just in case things worsen. I reiterated I couldn't help financially and suggested refinancing or a payment plan. Dad argued, but I held firm. Mom sniffled into a napkin. Dad stared at his coffee. I left exhausted but lighter. The interview went great. The company's smaller but offers better pay and flexibility. The manager, David, liked my experience and mentioned a work-from-home option for when Noah's sick. I tried not to get too excited, but it felt promising. While helping Noah with his Jupiter project, our table a mess of papier-mâché and glue, my phone buzzed. Aunt Clara sent a screenshot of Mom's Facebook post. Watching your child make poor choices is the hardest part of parenting. Praying for guidance. Comments were vague sympathy. Mom replied about financial struggles and ungrateful kids. Caleb called her out in the comments, but his post vanished. David called to offer me the job, starting in 3 weeks, with $2,500 more than the lost promotion and better benefits. I accepted, feeling a weight lift. Noah and I celebrated with ice cream. Then a call from an unknown number, my apartment manager, asking if my parents had permission to enter my unit. They'd claimed they needed to drop off urgent medicine for Noah. I never gave them a key and they had no permission. I confirmed with the manager, thanked her, and called my parents. No answer. At the complex, their SUV was in a visitor spot. I told Noah to stay in the car, locked, and promised I'd be back. The manager, Rachel, said my parents had insisted on entering, claiming they'd left Noah's meds inside. When denied, they waited in the lobby for 2 hours. In the lobby, I found them with a suitcase and Mom's purse. Mom cried. Dad said they had a mix-up with their mortgage company and their utilities were off due to errors. They needed to stay a few days. I asked why they didn't call first. Dad said their phones were about to be cut off, but drove 25 minutes anyway. My 1-bedroom apartment, shared with Noah, has a tiny pull-out couch, not feasible. More importantly, I wasn't comfortable after everything. I suggested a motel with their credit card or Aunt Clara's guest room. Mom snapped I was abandoning them like they'd abandoned me. Dad listed things they did for me growing up. School lunches, clothes, doctor visits, like I owed them for basic parenting. I said I'd help find arrangements, but they couldn't stay. Mom stormed out. Dad lingered, confused I wasn't caving. I called Aunt Clara, who agreed to take them, and Caleb, who offered backup. They went to Clara's, complaining about my cruelty. The next day, Rachel said Mom had returned, claiming grandparent rights to drop off meds. Rachel held firm but warned me Mom planned to come back. I double-checked locks, closed blinds, and ordered pizza to keep things fun for Noah with a blanket fort and How to Train Your Dragon. At 8 p.m., a knock my parents with bags saying my place made sense over Clara's for space. False, and doctor proximity, also false. Mom called to Noah, who perked up. I stepped into the hall, half closing the door, and said they couldn't stay. Mom muttered, "We'll see what the police say about a daughter turning out her elderly parents." I pointed out they're not homeless or elderly. They have a car, credit card, and Clara's offer. If they called the police, they'd be sent to social services or Clara's. Dad pivoted, saying Noah's birthday was soon, and it'd be sad if they couldn't bring gifts while living in their car. I said I'd block their numbers temporarily and suggested Clara's or a hotel. Back inside, Noah asked if they were coming in. I said they were just saying hi and going to Clara's. They knocked twice more. I didn't open. Later, texts poured in guilt trips. 30 years of parenting meant nothing. Anger, "You'll regret this," and claims they were officially homeless. Clara confirmed they were at her place, grumbling but settled. Dad emailed a ledger of everything they'd spent on me since birth: food, clothes, doctor visits with dollar amounts, claiming I owed them. I didn't reply. I took Noah to the park and focused on our new job and future. Final update 6 months later. I've been at my new job 5 months. The flexibility is real. When Noah's asthma flared, I worked from home 3 days with no pushback. The pay bump isn't life-altering, but I don't wake up at 3 a.m. worrying about bills. We moved to a 2-bedroom apartment in Noah's school district. He picked planet-themed bedding at IKEA, beaming. Our fridge works reliably and the shower doesn't quit after 5 minutes. Small wins feel huge. My parents, it's complicated. After their apartment stunt, they went silent for 3 weeks but kept up their campaign via family. Clara kept pushing me to step up. Caleb and I stayed united, sharing their tactics. Their GoFundMe fizzled at $250. I learned they used the home equity loan for non-essentials, new furniture, trips, while making minimum payments. They're not homeless, they're just bad with money. I've kept my distance, only unblocking their numbers recently. Noah sees them occasionally at Clara's, supervised, so he keeps that bond without their drama in our home. They've stopped asking for money, but I'm braced for the next guilt trip. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.